How many of us remember the original Star Trek TV show from the 1960s? Show of hands? Okay, lots of us. Well, through the years, that show took many different forms as spin-offs and other series were created. The creative starlight that was Star Trek's genesis evolved, and new stories were discovered. This morning, we'll take a trek into another star, the star within our own heart and the hearts of others, and look for, as Joyce Rupp's gospel rendering says, the one waiting there, longing to be discovered. As we go heart trekking among the stars, it's important that we bring some things with us. A backpack here that we're going to fill with 5 items. The first 2 are a sense of adventure and a deep trust in the Spirit of God within and around us. Jan Richardson, in today's second reading, reminds us of 3 others: that we need to be faithful to the next step, listen to our intuition, and be open to what is needed as the path is revealed. With these qualities in our backpack, let's now consider some Epiphany examples. The first Epiphany star focuses on the light of life. A couple weeks ago, there was an inspiring story in the Philadelphia Inquirer about 63-year-old marathon runner and triathlete Diane Berberian. For many years, Diane, who is visually impaired, represented the United States in international competitions and became the 5th best para-triathlete in the world when she was in her 50s and 60s. In 2016, however, she was diagnosed with cancer. Unfortunately, it spread, and in 2020 was told she had 1 month to live. So Diane, who had been living in Florida, moved back home to Philadelphia to be with family and decide how she wanted to live out her life. She has said that every day she wants to embody the phrase, live life to the fullest. Because sports have been at the heart of who she is, over the past 15 months, she has taken part in many sports activities. She threw out the first pitch at Fenway Park in Boston, a city where she ran many marathons. She had a meet and greet with the Philadelphia Union professional soccer players and dropped the ceremonial puck at a Philadelphia Flyers game for the team's Hockey Fights Cancer night. One of her best experiences was participating in the Philadelphia Marathon this past November. Due to her deteriorating health, she competed in a wheelchair, and her family and friends took turns pushing her. With tears in her eyes and those of her friends, she pointed out places in the city that were significant to her life. And as she did so, she left her boundless, hope-filled energy on the streets of Philadelphia. In Diane's words, "My friends were crying, and I emotionally broke down because I was, metaphorically and otherwise, leaving the city." In each of these moments, Diane journeyed into the star in her heart that so wants to make the most of every precious life moment. In doing that, she has touched the hearts of many, those who accompanied her and made it possible for her to experience these moments, as well as professional sports players who conversed with her. Diane Berberian is still traveling into the star of life within her heart, offering hope and inspiration as she continues in Epiphany fashion to reveal the light of God to others. The second star I want to share is the star of justice that Anglican Archbishop Desmond Tutu revealed not only to his own country of South Africa, but to all the nations of the world. Last Sunday, Archbishop Tutu died, leaving a legacy of starlight that helped overturn the racial oppression of apartheid. As chair of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which investigated the atrocities of apartheid, he worked diligently to bring healing and justice to his fellow citizens. A strong and compassionate leader, Tutu listened to harrowing testimony brought before the commission. It would sometimes lead him to weep openly and say, "Without forgiveness, we have no future." Later, he campaigned internationally for LGBTQ rights and same-sex marriage, even as those within the Anglican Church resisted his stance. The current Anglican Archbishop of Cape Town, Tabo Magoba, notes that Tutu's legacy is moral strength, moral courage, and clarity, and that he not only shared people's pain, but also shared their joy. I think it's important to note that Desmond Tutu cultivated an inner spirit of joy and delight, even as he dealt with many weighty issues. This too is part of the starlight he shares with each of us and is captured beautifully in the Book of Joy he co-authored with the Dalai Lama. During his extraordinary life, Archbishop Desmond Tutu journeyed into the star of justice with trust and faith, a listening heart, and openness to the challenging path that unfolded before him. Even in death, his starlight of inclusivity and justice continues to shine brightly in the world. The last example I want to share is from our family. The star of call, professionally and relationally, that I have witnessed in our daughter Dana's heart. In her early 20s, Dana followed the star within that called her to be a sports information director. After a couple years, however, she felt her heart leading her to a nursing career. She pursued it with determination, and after acquiring the needed education, confidently moved to North Carolina for work, and she eventually married. Dana journeyed into different areas of nursing, such as oncology, the intensive care unit, and rapid response, continuing to follow her star and share her light. Several years later, she went back to school to become a nurse practitioner. After her marriage painfully ended, she took a leap of faith as she opened herself to a new road. Dana journeyed westward to Colorado to follow her star and have a fresh start in her professional and personal life. Now a hospitalist in a highly rated hospital and trauma center in the Denver area, she feels fulfilled professionally and is happily married to Brooks, a strong, wonderful man who appreciates her for who she is. I think back to the time of my ordination when I gave Dana a compass rose necklace in appreciation for her support of my call. A compass rose is a symbol that guides people on their journey. And I told her to always listen to her heart to find her true north. I marvel at how Dana, through the years, did just that, as she drew deeply from her sense of adventure, was faithful to the next step, trusted and listened to her inner voice as she followed the call of her heart and traveled into its light. These three illustrations focused on the stars of life, justice, and call. But just as there are unlimited stars in the night sky, there are limitless stars within that we may be drawn to discover. As we begin this new year, look and listen for the star within your heart that is yearning to shine more brightly or be discovered. Trek with our loving and adventurous God into the starlight you are called to be.